Right, before we start, let me get this absolutely straight about Niclas Fullkrug. I thought he looked okay when he came on against Bournemouth. I certainly wasn't critical of him for the header. In fact, I think he was possibly the only striker we've got who could have got into that position. Some have suggested that Danny Ings would have been in that position and would have scored. I don't think Danny Ings would have come through the initial physical confrontation to have got himself into that. I want to see more from Fullkrug. I think West Ham would be a better team with Fullkrug playing in it, particularly in the absence of Michail Antonio. So I don't particularly have any axe to grind with Fullkrug himself. But if I'm going to be honest here, I think can I say it? I think the transfer is an interesting one. Let's put it that way. I don't think it was a brilliant transfer. I think we overpaid for the player. I don't know what particular agents earned from it or anything like that. I just don't know. But what I would say is I think it was a very, very suspicious transfer for West Ham to try and do, particularly bearing in mind the player's injury record, particularly given his age, and particularly did not suit the profile of the other strikers we were going for at the time. Also, you've got to factor in that West Ham have absolutely openly said that they are in the market for a top-class centre-forward, which means sort of by association they don't think that... I'm not going to say that I don't think Niclas Fullkrug is one, but I don't think Niclas Fullkrug is going to be here for the long term. And I don't think he is. As I've mentioned on numerous occasions, I don't think he'll be here next season, and whether he's here in February is another discussion entirely. What I want to talk about today is some comments that have been attributed to Fullkrug, but what I do want to make the point on this, some of it is in translation, and we've already fallen foul of a little bit of this earlier on in the week. So let me just deal with what Fullkrug has said here. Now, he was asked about his time in England, and he said it had been absolutely awful. He said that he'd had very intense discussions about moving to England being a risky step, and he knew that by moving to England, there wouldn't be any European football this season. All right? But it's now looking, because this way he's saying it's awful, it's now looking that there won't be any European football next season, or actually even the season after that. Okay, how do we sort of deal with that? Well, firstly, I think, there is no European football this season. There probably isn't going to be any European football next season, but that really does give an insight into his mindset. If he thinks, well, do you know what, there's probably not going to be any European football afterwards either. That's pretty much what he said. I don't think there'll be any European football next season. I don't particularly want to hear a West Ham player who we've paid £27 million for saying that he don't think there's going to be any European football for the foreseeable future, which is what he's saying. Is it only the truth? Yeah, it is. But we've spent £27 million on this player, and we've already heard that he wants to go home. Nothing has changed. In fact, what I've heard in this statement has only reinforced that. It's obviously an interview he's given in German. Now, this sort of plays into something else, which I just want to cover, because there'll be a few people who say, oh, he doesn't really mean it. It's just lost in translation. I think we're too forgiving sometimes with players with what they say. And I'm going to go back to Lucas Paqueta at the start of the week, and something I got a little bit of stick for, actually, which was... Lucas Paqueta posted a cryptic post before the Bournemouth game in which he said, I'm not from here, I want to come home. He will come and get me and I'll go home. Pretty much what he said. That was a translation. And I think we insult players' intelligence by suggesting that they don't know what they're doing. I think you insult yourself. I think it's just the whole thing. He knew what he was posting. He knew that there were two ways that you could read into that. And a lot of people have turned around after and said, oh, Gonzo, it's just a Portuguese song. It didn't mean anything, it was just a Portuguese song. Well, okay, it's proven to be a Portuguese song, but that doesn't mean he didn't know what he was writing. And I think it was quite clear that after he wrote it, he went out on the charm offensive, because people rumbled him for it. And I think he went, sorry, I scored a goal, West Ham badge, and really, come on, you Irons, and all that stuff. Since then, it turns out he's having dialogue with the club about moving back to Brazil on loan, which the club don't want to do. Maybe we'll get to that later. Maybe it'll be another video. But it was quite clear what he did. So I don't want to give Fullkrug like a get out of jail free card on this stuff for saying this stuff. Not at all. I think we can actually take it at face value. In exactly the same way that we can take Paqueta's words on face value. Just because he said, you don't get to say, I'm leaving and I want to go home, but conveniently they match the lyrics of a song, so it doesn't count. Marcus Rashford, who we're linked with at the moment, by the way, wants to leave Manchester United. So if Marcus Rashford on his Twitter account was to write down, please release me, let me go, because I don't love you anymore, people would read stuff into it. Or would they? Oh, does he get the same rules? Does he go, oh no, he doesn't mean that. He loves Old Trafford. He loves Manchester United. That's just an Engelbert Humperdinck song. He's not really saying, please let me go. It's not about a transfer at all. Are we going to insult his intelligence to such an extent to think he doesn't know what he's saying? Oh, whoops. Oh dear, I got it wrong. You didn't. But they're trying to be crafty. Paqueta was trying to be crafty by posting the lyrics to a song which he could then say afterwards had a double meaning. Are we foolish enough to? Well, I'm not. I don't believe it. If you want to think to yourself, oh, he didn't mean that, it was something different, I don't believe it. And I think it's the same thing when a lot of these players say this stuff in the media. They know it's going to get back. What Fullkrug is saying here is a cry of frustration. Fullkrug is saying, get me out of here. How was your time in England? Absolutely awful. Look, we'll get onto a little bit more of it in a second. And before I do, can I please point you in the direction of today's video sponsor, the Santaco. The Santaco! Hey, look, we've got serious contacts at Hammers Chat. We know Father Christmas. And because of that, we're going to give you a discount to you be able to get your little kid, your child, a letter from Father Christmas. You can write to Father Christmas, and can you get a letter back? Well, you can now with the santaco.co.uk. All you do is you go online, use the link below, and you put in as much information as you can about your child. And what you get back is a bespoke letter. It's not like some generated thing. It's a bespoke, personalised letter from Father Christmas to your child, which will contain all the more information you give, the more detailed the letter you will get back. It comes in a lovely red envelope. There's only a couple of days left to do this. After the 21st, you can't do this anymore because obviously the letter needs to come from the North Pole and arrive through your letterbox. We're going to give you 30% off, actually 50% off if you're a Hammers Chat patron, but you need to go onto Patreon to check that out. Links in the description below. The discount code is Hammers Chat, all one word. You get a letter, red envelope, nice thick paper. There's loads of other stuff on the website as well. Go and check it out. But also you get a QR code. So if you scan it, then Father Christmas, you can hear Father Christmas reading out the letter. He's done a recording. Father Christmas, when he writes the letter, he does a recording. Beautiful. Check it out. Links in the description below. Okay, so Fullkrug. He basically said, I had very intense discussions about such a risky step. He's basically, okay, I sort of get it, you know. I knew I was taking a step deeper and taking a certain risk that I wouldn't play in Europe this year, but maybe not next year now, and maybe not the year after that either. All right, mate. Do you know what I mean? Give it a rest, will you? Look, he wants to go. We know he wants to go. I cannot believe. See, this is the thing. I was willing to believe, a certain part of me, that Fullkrug had signed with the best of intentions, and he got here and then he got homesick. This now makes it sound like he didn't want to bloody sign in the first place, which does beg the question, why did we sign this guy? Yeah, I mean, we might not find out the truth for years and years and years, but I don't like this. I do not like this transfer one little bit at all. But I just want to go back to what I said at the start of the video. I don't think he's a crap player. I don't want him to do badly. I want him to do well. I want him to start loving West Ham. I want him to whatever Pablo Fornal's had. I want him to have some more of the same. I want him to fall in love with a club. I want him to fall in love with a heritage. I want him to honestly. I want him to find a lovely, lovely house in Canvey Island or something like that, or whatever the case may be. Right. I want him to fall in love with West Ham fans, with the club as a whole. But it's just not happening. That's what I want to happen. I want him banging goals. I want to be a cult hero. I actually thought when he joined, I didn't know much about him, truth be known. But when he joined, I thought, this guy could be a cult hero at West Ham. He's got that, seems to have that look about him. He's got that demeanour. He seems quite charismatic. And he seemed quite jokey, quite jovial, quite happy. All I've heard is moans, quite frankly. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I think he could have become a cult hero, but I certainly had the happy demeanour. very, very wrong. He looks happy enough when he's back in Germany doing the podcast or the game shows or, whatever it is that he's doing. But he could not be any clearer in the way that he's speaking, that he does not like it here. Anyway, I've got a ravenous dog outside who's digging I've got a digger here, by the way. He digs. Do you want to have a look? He's got considerably bigger. Before we end the video, hold on a second, as he's just outside. Wait, come here. Oh my goodness, his paws are disgusting. Zippy, come here. Oh my goodness, honestly, I don't know if I can. Right, I don't know whether I'm going to get away with this. His paws. All right. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can see his paws. Look at that. Look at that. He's a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. Anyway, there you go. Little bit of an unexpected end to a Niclas Fullkrug video. But there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have I got it wrong again, like I did with Lucas Paqueta? Does he really love it here? Is he really just sending a coded message? And he's moving. It doesn't sound like he's moving his kids over and enrolling them in a school in Romford or anything, does it? Let's be perfectly honest with you. Sounds like he's making waves. Sounds like he's going home. As I said, I don't think he'll be here next season. I don't even think he'll be here in February.